Your DPF might be slowly dying right now, and the scary part, you could be the one causing the damage without even realizing it. Most diesel owners end up replacing their DPF somewhere between 100,000 and 150,000 miles. And when they do, it's a painful hit to the wallet, usually between $3,000. But what if I told you there are simple driving habits and maintenance steps that can make your DPF last twice as long, or maybe even longer? That's exactly what we're talking about today. In this video, I'm breaking down the biggest DPF killers and the surprisingly easy habits that will keep your filter alive and healthy. No, I'm not talking about spending money on expensive additives or chasing complicated maintenance hacks. This is about truly understanding how your DPF works and giving it what it needs to survive. And make sure you stick around until the very end, because I'm also going to expose the #1 mistake diesel owners make, the one thing that cuts your DPF's life in half. So before we jump into the solutions, let's take a closer look at what's actually killing your DPF, how the DPF works, and why it fails. Think of your DPF as a superfine soot trap. Its whole job is to capture the tiny black particles from your diesel exhaust so they don't end up in the air. Now here's where it gets interesting. Your DPF isn't just a trap, it also has a built-in self-cleaning process called regeneration. During regeneration, the system cranks up the heat inside your exhaust to crazy levels, over 1100 degrees Fahrenheit, and burns off the trapped soot. That soot then turns into fine ash, which gets blown out through the exhaust. Sounds perfect, right? Well, not exactly. Here's the critical problem. Every single regeneration cycle leaves behind a little bit of ash that never goes away. Over time, that microscopic ash builds up inside the filter. Slowly but surely, it clogs the DPF, restricts airflow, and makes future regenerations less and less effective. Eventually, you hit the point where the filter is so loaded with ash that regeneration can't keep up anymore. That's what we call DPF death. So here's the secret to making your DPF last. It's not about avoiding regeneration. You can't. It's about making sure regeneration happens the right way, as efficiently and completely as possible, while also cutting down the amount of soot your engine produces in the first place. And that's exactly what we're going to cover next. Specific, practical habits you can start today that will literally double your DPF's lifespan. Practice #1, driving habits that support regeneration. Here's a big one most diesel owners never think about. How you drive has a direct impact on how long your DPF lasts. If most of your driving is short trips, stop-and-go traffic, or slow city runs, your engine never gets hot enough to burn soot properly. That means your DPF keeps filling up, and regeneration either doesn't happen at all or happens halfway, leaving behind extra ash every time. Think of it like trying to cook something, but shutting the oven off halfway through. You don't just get half-cooked food, you also mess up the oven in the process. Same deal with your DPF. So what's the solution? You've got to give your truck or SUV some time on the open road. Most guides say 20 to 30 minutes at speeds above 40 miles per hour is enough. That's better than nothing. But here's the truth, for a full, healthy regeneration, you need at least 1 solid hour of steady highway driving every single week. And here's the kicker. Don't baby your engine during these runs. Keep your RPMs between 2,000 and 3,000. That's the sweet spot where your exhaust flow and temperature hit the levels needed to clean the filter properly. I call it DPF exercise. Just like your body needs regular workouts to stay healthy, your DPF needs regular highway sessions to stay alive. Do this, and you'll notice smoother performance, fewer warning lights, and way less stress on the whole emission system. Skip it, and your DPF will slowly choke itself to death. Practice #2, use low-ash engine oil and change it often. Here's a fact most drivers don't realize. Your motor oil directly affects your DPF's life. Standard oils contain metallic additives that, when burned, turn into ash. And where does that ash end up? Right inside your DPF, where it can't ever be removed. Over time, that ash clogs the filter and kills it faster than anything else. That's why smart diesel owners always use low SAPS oil. SAPS stands for sulfated ash, phosphorus, and sulfur. Oils with this label are specially designed to produce far less ash when burned, which means your DPF stays cleaner for longer. But it's not just about what kind of oil you use, it's also about how often you change it. Sure, the manufacturer might tell you oil can last 10,000 miles or more, but by then your oil is already breaking down, creating more soot, and even mixing with unburned fuel during failed regenerations. That's a recipe for disaster. A better rule: change your oil every 6,000 to 8,000 miles. Some mechanics even push for every 5,000 if you do a lot of short trips. Think of it like this: clean oil, clean combustion. Clean combustion, fewer regenerations. Fewer regenerations, less ash in the DPF. That's how a simple oil change can save you thousands of dollars down the road. Practice number 3. Fix engine problems right away. Here's a secret most people miss. The DPF almost never fails on its own. When it goes bad, it's usually because something else in the engine isn't working right. Think about it. Your DPF is just a filter. If your engine is running clean, the filter has an easy job. But if your engine is running dirty, the DPF gets buried in soot and ash way too fast. Here are the biggest culprits. Bad fuel injectors. They spray too much or too little fuel, which means incomplete combustion. In plain English, more soot, less power, and a DPF that's suffocating. Clogged EGR valves. These stop exhaust gases from flowing correctly, which ruins the regeneration process. Air leaks in the intake mess up the air-fuel mix and create, you guessed it, more soot. Oil consumption. If your engine burns oil, that oil turns into ash inside the DPF. And remember, ash never goes away. Once it's in there, it's stuck for good. Bad sensors, a dead DPF pressure sensor, exhaust temp sensor, or airflow sensor, can prevent regeneration from even happening. The rule of thumb: any problem that makes your engine less efficient will shorten your DPF's life. That's why mechanics jump on leaks, smoke, or warning lights right away. They know ignoring these issues doesn't just lead to engine trouble, it also silently destroys the DPF. So if you ever notice odd smells, rough idling, poor fuel economy, or a glowing check engine light, don't wait. Get it fixed before your filter takes the hit. Practice number 4. Avoid mods that kill your DPF. A lot of diesel owners love chasing more horsepower. And sure, it's tempting to slap on a cheap tuning box or get an aggressive ECU remap. But here's the ugly truth. Most of those quick fix mods dump way too much fuel into your engine. What happens when you drown the engine in extra fuel? Simple. It doesn't all burn. That unburned fuel turns into huge clouds of soot. And where does that soot go? Straight into your DPF, clogging it faster than anything else. Here's what to keep in mind. Cheap tuning boxes, soot factories. They fool your engine into dumping more fuel without adjusting anything else. Your DPF pays the price. Aggressive ECU remaps can also be dangerous if done by the wrong person. If the tuner doesn't balance air-fuel ratios correctly, you'll get extra smoke and a much shorter DPF life. Even aftermarket performance air filters can be a problem. Some let in more dirt than they should, and others mess with the mass airflow sensor. That sensor is critical for proper combustion, and if it gets confused, you get more soot. And don't get me started on random additives or oil treatments. If they contain metallic compounds, they create extra ash that your DPF can never get rid of. The bottom line: if you really want more power, pay for a professional tune from someone who understands DPF systems. They'll adjust fueling, airflow, and timing so your engine makes more power without turning your DPF into a soot trap. Remember, every shortcut you take with mods shortens your filter's life. Practice number 5. Use quality fuel and keep the fuel system clean. Your diesel engine is only as healthy as the fuel you put into it. And when it comes to your DPF, bad fuel is like poison. Here's the deal. Low-quality diesel or fuel with high sulfur content creates more soot every time you drive. More soot means more regenerations and more ash left behind. That's why a lot of DPFs fail way earlier than they should. So what can you do? Buy from reputable stations. Go to fuel stations that have a high turnover, meaning lots of customers and fresh fuel. Old or contaminated fuel sitting in a tank is trouble waiting to happen. Watch for contamination. If you ever see cloudy fuel, water in the diesel, or smell something off, avoid it. Dirty fuel, dirty combustion could clog DPF. Replace fuel filters regularly. A clogged filter starves your engine of fuel, making combustion uneven and sooty. Keep injectors clean. Dirty or worn injectors spray fuel in the wrong pattern, which creates, yep, you guessed it, more soot. Here's a smart move. Every now and then use a diesel fuel system cleaner that's safe for DPF-equipped engines. These help keep injectors spraying properly so your engine burns fuel cleanly. Think of it this way. Clean fuel system, clean burn, less soot, fewer regenerations, longer DPF life. Practice number 6. Don't interrupt regeneration. Here's one of the sneakiest DPF killers, shutting down your engine while it's in the middle of a regeneration cycle. Your DPF needs those cycles to burn soot into ash. But if you interrupt it like turning the engine off halfway through, your filter never gets fully cleaned. That leftover soot just builds up, forcing more frequent regenerations and leaving behind more ash each time. So how do you know when regeneration is happening? Look for these signs. Your engine idles a little higher than normal. The cooling fan might be louder or running more often. You might even notice a hotter smell coming from the exhaust. When you spot these clues, don't cut it short. Keep driving at steady speeds, ideally on the highway, until the process finishes. And here's an important tip. If you must stop during a regen, restart your vehicle as soon as you can and keep driving under steady conditions. It's way better than letting an incomplete cycle sit half done. Remember, an incomplete regeneration is worse than no regeneration at all. It leaves your DPF dirtier, faster. The bottom line on DPF longevity: your DPF isn't the enemy. It's actually built to last 150,000 to 200,000 miles under the right conditions. The reason most fail early is because drivers unknowingly do things that choke it with soot and ash. Here's the truth. Excessive soot comes from bad driving habits, poor fuel, or engine problems. Incomplete regenerations leave behind residue that piles up over time. Extra ash is created by the wrong oil, cheap additives, or sloppy mods. But here's the good news. If you follow the 6 practices we covered, support natural regenerations with weekly highway drives. Use low ash oil and change it often. Fix engine issues quickly before they snowball. Avoid mods and additives that pump out soot or ash. Stick to clean, quality diesel fuel and keep your fuel system healthy. Never interrupt regeneration cycles. Then your DPF will last twice as long or more. That means saving $3,000 to $5,000 on replacements, plus enjoying better fuel economy and smoother performance. A healthy DPF also means a healthier engine overall. Less strain, fewer breakdowns, and a diesel that runs clean and strong for hundreds of thousands of miles. So what about you? Have you tried any of these habits? Did they make a difference for your truck or car? Drop your story in the comments. It could help another diesel owner dodge a huge repair bill. And if this guide gave you value, hit that like button, subscribe for more real-world diesel tips, and share this with a friend who owns a diesel. Let's keep more trucks on the road and less money wasted at the shop.